Well, it looks like we're live. Welcome to T-Bizcast, the video podcast for serious online t-shirt marketers. This is actually the second edition of it, second episode. We had Ty Holes from T-Shirt Bomb on the first episode, and that recording is available. I'm Jim Fisher, coming to you live from Estes Park, Colorado. Another beautiful day up here in the summer. In today's show, we have Bridget Sauer from teespring.com. She's actually the community manager there at Teespring. Good morning, Bridget, and welcome.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks for having me on the show. I know Ty's a tough act to follow, but I'll do my best.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, and you're kind of cutting out. Hopefully this video and audio is coming through good to people. They may not know. They may have to refresh their Facebook page in order to get the video started. I put that in the chat on the Facebook page there, and that's how we'll be letting people ask questions a little bit later on too. But let's get started. So you're the community manager at Teespring. What exactly do you do with that particular job?
Yeah, good question. So Teespring's really focused across the board on community, from our developers to our designers, to the marketing department. And so my main job is to support those efforts. And that's, talking to you guys all day in Teespring News. That's traveling to where you are actually working all around the world, and making sure that your voice is heard and that you all have all the resources you need. And it's a lot of fun. I'm really lucky to have this job.
That must be a fun job. I see you on Teespring News Facebook group all the time, and you're really responsive to people on there. So I would highly recommend that people go and check that out and stay active with that.
Totally. Yeah, Teespring News is not only a really good resource for sellers to ask questions and kind of get some advice from the pros, but also have a lot of fun. I would say I have real friends in Teespring News and across the Teespring community. So it's a pretty authentic place, and people stay true to themselves, and they're rewarded for that too, in respect and also in hashtag free swag.
Right, yeah. So kind of how we're going to do this today is it's kind of oriented still in these first couple episodes is oriented towards the beginning t-shirt marketer, as somebody who is either thinking about getting started or already has just recently got started. So we'll keep it kind of in that vein, but it's okay to veer off in other directions too if you want to, Bridget. Just curious, what kind of t-shirt marketing are you actually doing yourself, if any?
Yeah, so back in the day when I first started Teespring about 2 years ago, the whole company was trying to figure it out. T-shirt internet marketing was kind of a new field, and so we were all just making sense of it all. These days, the t-shirt marketing that I do is just purely to keep up on the times. Facebook's always changing their algorithms, making switches to Power Editor and things like that. So I like to market my own. I'm an artist myself, and so I've got very watercolor, whale centered artwork, as well as some San Francisco pieces. And so the trick for me is to try to find the audiences outside of my friend groups, outside of my mom and dad who want those. That will buy them. And so that's kind of my fun side project, but most of my time is dedicated towards helping sellers figure it out for themselves.
Yeah, I've been on your website actually, and I like some of your artwork on there. It's pretty cool.
Oh, thanks, Jim. Yeah, it's my passion, my pastime. So it's kind of a cool thing that I can also make some money on Teespring the one time per month that I do decide to make a t-shirt.
Right. Real fun. Okay. So tell us everything you can, and this is a kind of a broad question, and I'll let you ramble here too. Everything you can about Teespring, what they offer someone who wants to get started in t-shirt marketing online. Things like the university, the news, Facebook group, we've mentioned that already, fabric, all that stuff. Go ahead and just tell everybody about that.
Totally. So I'll start with the university, which is where I usually point newbies to when they, first come to Teespring and they ask that kind of, when is Teespring, how do I get started question, which is inevitable. And I say, go to Teespring University, go through all the courses, and then once you do absorb all of that information, because there's a lot, that's when you come back and you ask those nuanced questions that aren't really included and only come with experience. So Teespring University is a great resource, and as we integrate fully with Fabberly, we're going to be adding some really important information on how to sell to Europe, which is going to be super crucial in helping all of our sellers tap the resource that is Europe right now, because there's so many markets there that are unexplored in terms of t-shirt marketing. So more to come for Teespring University. It's getting a huge revamp. That takes me to Fabric, which is another more education-focused community group that Teespring has. And newbies can come to Fabric and ask any question they want. When they type in their question, odds are sellers already asked it before. So that will drop down and they'll be able to say, oh, someone had that same question as me and it's already been answered. And it's also a really good place for all sellers to go and post their ideas. So if they say, I wish the goal was one, I wish people would one-off print, I wish, whatever seller request that you may have, you post that, and then other people can go and vote on it too. So where things get lost in Facebook of someone making a post and people liking it, those ideas stay in Fabric. And so when our product team is deciding, what's a priority for our sellers, what should we build, they can go and look at that idea got 20 votes. Like maybe we should actually prioritize that over a different one that got 1 or 2. So Fabric is also a developing and growing tool that we kind of started to build early this year, and that will get bigger and bigger and more powerful and be kind of like a lasting Teespring community. And then of course Teespring News, which I hope everyone is in if they aren't already, where a lot of fun happens and a lot of controversial conversation, feature requests. Basically, it's a community for me and for Walker and Vince, and Scott, and all of the other Teespring employees to keep our sellers up to date with what's going on in the company, what new features coming out. God forbid if there's a bug and we're working on it. And then on the flip side, it's for more advanced seller discussion. So we like to keep things fun. People can post their team memes, and I'll post 1 million T-puns per day. But it's mostly geared towards, optimizing your Facebook ads and discussing things that are more high level than what you could find in maybe Fabric or Teespring University. And then, there's a blog, blog.teespring.com, which has a wealth of information from, new products and new features to seller success stories, and also more info on company announcements. And so, in terms of education, there's no limit to what you can learn about internet marketing. I mean, the big guys know it the best. They are learning something new every day. And so as much as we try to give our sellers education, we're also constantly trying to absorb what you guys are learning in the day-to-day world of Facebook ads, because it's always changing and you guys are at the front line. So learning from our community is just as important as teaching them what we can. Did that come through, Jim?
Right. Yeah, every one of those are great resources. I really like the university when I was first getting started. I still do. I mean, I get into that and refresh on the advanced part of that once in a while right now. So those are excellent. I haven't used Fabric that much, but I'm sure people can really get a lot out of that too.
Totally. Yeah, I would say Fabric right now is pretty interesting because I've seen a lot of people come in there that aren't in Teespring News. And it's kind of sectioned in ways that, there's a group specifically for introductions, which I really love. And so people can come in and write a little bit about their background. And that really helps other springers get a context of who they really are. And I think it breeds a little bit of compassion when, someone's asking, a dumb question, which there isn't one. But it kind of gives them more of a person-to-person relationship so that, they're a little bit more willing to share information and maybe even bring a relationship that they make in Fabric, offline, so that they can either have a meetup or team up and go at the springing together, which is also important. But that will continue to evolve, and especially as we welcome Fabry into the Teespring family, it will be really cool to be able to section our community and like Teespring US, Teespring EU, and then we've got Vietnamese springers, we've got Spanish springers, we've got French springers. And we want to give them a space where they can be part of the main community, but also communicate in their native language, which currently we do have Teespring News Indonesia, Teespring News Vietnam on Facebook, but I would like it to be a little bit more unified eventually.
Right. Yeah, that's cool that there's so many people on there, especially from all over the world. And I think that the U.S. is probably the number one T-shirt market. But what other countries would you say come in like second and third as far as the actual market for T-shirts?
Definitely. Well, I know Canada kind of counts as North America, but also Australia is a huge market, as is the UK. The Netherlands is up and coming. Germany. Really, the European market is wide open in terms of what we can do. And as we do integrate and we kind of teach our US sellers how to sell overseas, there's going to be a ton of more context around, how you translate your design. Any design that you sell to the United States has potential to be translated into French, German, Spanish, and be targeted towards those markets. And you never know what will work. And you'll have to do some research into, what makes a Spanish buyer different from a U.S. buyer, and what interests will what niche will resonate with them over what niche resonates with your U.S. audience. But it's really interesting, and I think our sellers will have a really good time, and also like a lot of resources to be able to do that research and figure out like where their golden market is in Europe.
Right. So next question for you. For people that are new to this business, which we're kind of orienting towards right now, what have you seen them struggle with the most? Obstacles to getting started in the right way and getting successful soon, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, we see it time and again in Teespring News. Someone will post, I give up, like, I spend, my $50 in Facebook ads, and I have 0 sales, and it's really hard, and I don't have the money. We see that time and again. And what we also see time and again is people being like, I found 100 times, and then my 102nd time, I hit gold. Yesterday, I got an email from a seller with a screenshot that had his $1 million rate in profit, which I love. I'm going to make $1 million. And he wrote a story about how, he had good luck in the beginning with name campaigns, which we no longer allow, or Facebook no longer allows us to advertise. And that was really easy, and he hit big there. And then he had a lull. And he failed time and again, but since he knew about that like initial great success, he didn't give up. And so now he just made his $1 million in profit. And that's because he sat back and learned, and he went through our education materials again and again. He tested his audience again and again. And he finally he cracked that barrier that he was hitting. So I think the biggest thing to remember for newbies is that maybe you'll be successful in your first campaign. Maybe it will be your 300th campaign. But if you're really serious about finding success with Teespring and in this internet marketing world, which I believe everyone can, it's just a matter of time, you do have to have perseverance. And that's where I think the power of community is so important, whether that's you're part of the Teespring community or whether you have a partner in crime who kind of supports you financially or supports you mentally when you're like, this isn't going to work. That's when that feeling of partnership and support is crucial. Or else you do give up and you move on to something else, but you don't send me that email with $1 million of profit.
Okay, great. So, without giving away any company secrets, Bridget, what can you tell us about ways that Teespring's planning to improve their service in the future?
Definitely. So our main goal as a company, our mission, besides growing a great community, is also to enable anyone to bring an idea to market. And so right now, that's not so easy. You have to know your audience. You have to have a little bit of a budget for Facebook spend or however you're advertising your shirt. Our goal is to break the barrier to entry. So we're building tools that make it really easy for sellers to find their audience, that make it really easy for them to test. You know, we want to cut out all of those clicks, the extra clicks that waste your time, and you know your time is money. And we want to really open our ears to our sellers and ask them what will make your life easier, what's going to get you more conversions, and then we're going to execute on those. So as I said before, this is a year of, I like to call it celebration. We want to reward you for all of the hard work that you guys are doing, and it only makes sense for us to make that work as easy as possible and give you all the resources that we can and that we can build for you to do so. So without giving away any company secrets, this year is going to be just incredible in terms of leveling up the platform to what you guys need, and some surprises in there too.
Well, I'm sure I can't wait till those surprises pop on us, because you guys are always improvising and coming up with some good stuff, some new stuff. So I love that about Teespring.
Totally. It's I think on a weekly basis we'll be just keep your eyes in Teespring News, and you'll see on a weekly basis how we're moving the community and the company forward. Specific to what I'm working on, as you know, the T Games have been going on, which have been really exciting, and we've seen some incredible success and some sales. And just this is our first big contest, and seeing the excitement around the contest and also the achievement is going to drive us to hold more contests that really the purpose is to celebrate the seller and give them some cool swag and some cool prizes for all the amazing work they do. If someone hits $1 million in profit, they deserve to be given that Teespring Blue swag pack and beyond, because, what better way for our sellers to spread brand love and to represent being part of the Teespring community than to be able to say, yeah, I'm a Teespring seller and they know it, and I'm rewarded for it. So the contests do that, swag does that, and that's what I'm really excited about, rewarding our sellers.
Yeah, the T Games is an excellent example. That's a good motivator for a lot of people, I think, things like that. So keep up that kind of stuff. That's great.
Totally. And we're going to keep on doing contests on a smaller scale. Yeah, I love the T Games because not only are our sellers, motivated to spring more, but it also gives me an excuse to bug them every day and say, this is your T Games unit count. Like, what's up? So it's cool for me to be able to meet a lot of the sellers that I haven't really talked to on a one-on-one basis before, and meet some new folks, and just make sure that everyone has a voice that's being heard.
Right. So, who do you think I should interview next? I don't know if it's against any rules for you to mention names or anything, but someone that started fairly recently in the marketing online business of T-shirts and has had pretty good success in a short period of time, and just be a good inspiration to other people starting out.
Yeah. So I've got a few sellers who come to mind, and I'm sure I can shoot you over a list later of more guys that would be perfect, and gals. But the springer that comes to my mind is Ronnie McKenzie and Suhail Mahadevran. They're an Australian team who just they kick ass, and they do it with a smile on their face. And they're a good example of a springer that has gone through some really highs and some really lows. They also hit it big, in the beginning, with kind of some low-hanging fruit, and then really had to battle through a couple months to get back in the groove of things. And so I think they'll have a really good outlook on how it feels to not be doing so well but you've already tasted that initial success, so you keep going. So I think we'll have some really good insight for newbies who are feeling like they want to give up.
Great. Great advice.
Yeah.
So how do you see things evolving in this business, Bridget? What I'm seeing is there's a lot of people that are kind of graduating, so to speak, to wanting to do their own online stores, e-commerce, and Shopify and whatnot. What do you see going on in the business here right now?
Totally. Yeah, I think the business, it's really exciting that, the tea business is moving forward. People want to start their own brands and actually build their business from the ground up. Teespring's mission is to enable everyone to do that. And so, t-shirts are just the start for Teespring. We're going to move past that and, really fulfill our mission, which is with anyone with an idea, we want them to be able to bring that alive. And we want to do that in a way that we're providing them with the best product, with the best customer service, and also, the best community out there too. So that's Teespring's mission, and we've got a lot of work on the way. But what we will say is that we're going to maintain our reputation as being so dedicated to customer service, so dedicated to fulfillment, and so dedicated to our seller community that people, even if they graduate now, will keep us in mind and remember that Teespring has the best quality out there.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, Teespring is excellent at customer service. I've had experience with that, and I just can't recommend that enough. As far as with your company, that's a really good part of it for me.
Just kind of how our sellers are at the core of our business. So is every user that comes to Teespring, because we know that every buyer has the potential to be a repeat buyer, and buyers won't come back to a website if they have a bad experience the first time. So our overall goal is to keep our buyers so happy that not only do they come back, they also recommend Teespring to a friend. So that kind of just ups the sales and the positive brand image, and that benefits our sellers too. The more we can make Teespring a household name, and the more we can make it a brand that people love, it makes it easier for sellers to be able to bring their ideas to life.
Right. So what's your best advice to someone starting out, Bridget? Your top 1 or 2 or 3 tips, if you got that many that you want to share.
Sure. I mean, number 1 is Teespring University. You'll get the most out of community if you go through the materials, if you take some time to listen. You can be part of the communities like Teespring News, like Fabric, and just absorb what people are talking about. What's been asked before, what's okay to ask, and what people will get kind of mad at you if you ask. Unfortunately, the dynamic is, if you ask, what do you think about my design? I'll delete it because that's not what Teespring News is for. But if you frame the question in a way that is less about, that one sentence and kind of learn the nuances of asking for advice, that's when you can really get the answers that you need. So my first piece of advice is to learn and listen. And then second, be an authentic part of the community. Make relationships. Don't just come when you have a burning question that you want an answer to. Relationships are crucial in the Teespring business. So when you are kind of embarrassed to ask a question in the group, you have a couple friends that you can lean on and say, hey, what's your experience with this? What do you think I should actually do? And once you develop those relationships and that level of trust, that's when the magic really starts to happen, and people share their secret sauce. I know that there's a lot of mastermind groups and teams that have formed that have just been able to rocket power their springing efforts because they're learning from each other. We've got teams all over the world who actually rent office space, and I think this is pretty amazing. Come in to work every day and share their secrets, and have no sort of walls that are making them kind of like hold their information close to their hearts and I think that's really special. So number two is be part of a community, if not Teespring News, T-shirt Bomb. I know there's a bunch of other really valuable community resources out there, which I love about Teespring is that there's endless groups that you can join, whether it be the Teespring News one, where it's also just Teespring focused, or an internet marketing one. You can always find information. And then number three, it's just testing it out for yourself. You can read about other people's experiences all day, every day. But what's true is that depending on your t-shirt design and your niche and your audience, everything is going to be different. You can watch tutorial after tutorial and take class after class, but what it takes is just iterating. And I know myself, I've got about 50 fan pages by now, and they range from Chihuahua Mama to who God knows. But you find something that resonates with you and resonates with an audience, and that's when you take it and run. So that's the advice I got. I could probably go on, but maybe we'll leave that for a different day.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure we could go on a lot more about that, those different subjects and more, but we'll kind of save some of that for later. Maybe we'll do another interview, because I'm going to start an intermediate series and an advanced series on the podcast eventually, and so I'd like to have you back maybe for some of that too, if you wouldn't mind.
Totally, no, I would love that, and I could also hook you up with a lot of other really awesome Teespring folks who I'm sure would be so happy to talk to you too. I know my buddy Vince Tumbleson is a ham for the camera. Camera loves him.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. That would be fun. I'd love to do that. So we'll talk about that a little bit offline and maybe get something going in that direction.
Totally.
Let's see here. I think I'm going to see if anybody wants to ask any questions of you right now, Bridget, if you don't mind. You can go ahead and talk about whatever you want. I'm going to bop over and try to check the Facebook page and see if anybody's actually participating or asking any questions yet over there, okay?
Sounds good, yeah. What to talk about? I guess I'll talk about the Teespring Fabry integration, which is happening sometime soon. And I really want to emphasize that, if you are interested in selling in Europe, you should pop on over to the Fabry classrooms and the Fabry blog. If you're in the T Games, we give a selling in Europe tip every week to encourage people to check out the European markets. I could read about selling in Europe for years, because I love the fact that for every design, say I've got a biker grandma design. I wish I knew how to translate that into all the languages that you potentially could, but luckily the Fabry team does. They've got a team of really awesome translators that are ready and willing to help out any seller translate their design and their ad copy, and also their campaign description as well. So it's really cool to see design that's doing really well in the United States, and then I see it on Fabry as well. And just translated into 10 different languages, and the seller just making income from all of them without their ads intersecting, which is pretty cool.
Right. Yeah, I've been looking at the questions on Facebook. I don't see any. I know there's that wacky 20 or 30-second delay, whatever it is, with Google Live Hangouts. So I don't know if anybody's had a chance to actually listen to what we said about asking questions and get them posted up there, but I don't see any right now. So.
Sure. Let's see. Well, do you have any?
I'm having a little bit of a slowness with my computer. It's an older laptop. I think the processing speed is kind of slow for trying to handle all this live podcasting stuff. So I may have to upgrade pretty soon. But I keep hearing, when you're talking, you're cutting out a little bit. So I'm catching about 2/3 maybe of what you're saying, and trying to think of some more questions about that. But right now, I don't see any questions from anybody else on the Facebook page. And that's actually a little bit awkward, too, because you have to keep hitting refresh on that thing. And,
totally. And then the streaming probably is affected even further. But that's okay. I mean, perhaps once the recording is up, people will have some questions to post in Teespring News. And as you know, I'm always in there, so I can definitely catch up with those later on if need be.
Yeah, that sounds good. So no questions on there that I see, and so we can kind of wrap it up here if you want, and I just want to open it up to you if you want to add anything else that that we really haven't got into yet that you thought would be good to bring up for people starting out.
I think I pretty much covered it. As everyone knows, you can always send me an email to Bridget@teespring.com with any sort of question you have, any sort of help that you need. I'm here all the time to give it to you. I eat, sleep, and breathe Teespring community, and just want to say thank you to all of the people who are listening, and to Jim, and to the entire Teespring community for being so open to helping one another, which is something that has surprised us from the beginning of our Teespring community, that, you know, the people who use our platform are not only changing their lives, but also want to offer their help to change the lives of others. So that's pretty special. And so to those who are new and starting out, you have that to look forward to. And to those who are a little bit more seasoned and have a lot of wise advice, thanks for always offering that up, and for being patient.
Yeah, excellent. The community in Teespring is most excellent. So for starting out, you can't beat it, and for continuing on, obviously, too. Bridget, I'd like to thank you a lot for coming on the podcast today, and I look forward to getting on here again and picking your brain a little bit more about this business.
Totally, Jim, and this is so awesome. You have my 100% stamp of approval for what you're doing here with the T-Biz podcast, and you know, we'll have to get you some T-shirts made for the next time.
Yes, thanks. And thanks for those who joined in. I know that I haven't seen any questions, but you can still ask questions on that Facebook page. When the podcast is over, it's always up there. So if you want to leave a question on there, and I can get back with Bridget and we'll try to get it answered for you. I just wanted to say thanks for joining in, Bridget, and for everybody else. And I think we'll sign out now from
Jim, one more thing. Happy birthday.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah,
happy birthday.
Yeah, the big 6-0 for me. So
wow,
things are going pretty well there. Thanks for that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, one of my coworkers, Ali Shea, sent me a G chat just now saying it's Jim's birthday. So a big happy birthday from the entire Teespring team. I'm so honored to be part of it.
Well, thanks a lot, and I appreciate you being here. Take care, and we'll see you again on the podcast in the future, hopefully.
For sure. Talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye. Signing out.